Some American cities have become war zones with Wi-Fi, and it's not just poor neighborhoods or bad luck. These cities are collapsing from the inside out. Violence, corruption, poverty, and zero accountability. You know it's bad when even the police, the last line of defense, are packing up, breaking their leases, and getting out. And we're not talking about a few bad apples. Over 5,300 officers nationwide resigned in 2024 alone, and most from cities on this list. We're diving into the top 10 most dangerous U.S. cities, so broken that even the people with guns and badges won't stick around. These aren't just dangerous, they're unlivable. Where 911 might not answer, where murder is daily background noise, and where hope left a decade ago. You live here, you know. You visit here, you feel it. These cities aren't just failing, they're hemorrhaging. Let's start the countdown. And spoiler alert, it only gets worse. Number 10. St. Louis, Missouri. The city. Where sirens never sleep, St. Louis isn't just dangerous. It's industrial-grade volatile. This city isn't struggling, it's unraveling at the seams. In 2024, St. Louis clocked in a violent crime rate of 2,082 per 100,000 residents, nearly 5 times the national average. Let that sink in. It's not just the worst in Missouri, it's one of the worst in the country. And here's the kicker. St. Louis PD is down over 300 officers since 2021. Why? Burnout, threats, zero support from City Hall. Officers are quitting mid-shift. Others move to suburbs like Chesterfield or Baldwin, where the crime rate is 1/50th of what it is downtown. Whole districts have ghost coverage. Nobody shows up unless it's a murder, which frankly is a daily occurrence. The homicide clearance rate is below 40%. Translation? You can get away with it. Schools are half empty, riddled with dropouts and metal detectors. Infrastructure? The roads look like someone ran a tank battalion through them. Want to feel safe? Head west, because in St. Louis proper the population's dropped below 280,000, down from over 850,000 in 1950. That's not shrinkage, that's evacuation. The city keeps trying to rebrand, jazz museums, tech districts, but no one's buying. People aren't moving in, they're fleeing. Even State Farm shut down regional offices citing staff safety. Look, St. Louis has history, but it's written in bullet holes now. And when the people who are paid to protect you are buying one-way tickets out, that's not just a red flag, it's a full-blown siren blaring at 3 a.m., which, here, is basically ambient noise. Number 9. Albuquerque, New Mexico. The Breaking Bad fantasy became real. If you thought Breaking Bad was fiction, you haven't been to Albuquerque lately. This city isn't suffering from crime, it's marinating in it. 2024 FBI data pegs Albuquerque's violent crime rate at 1,147 per 100,000, nearly 3 times the national average. And property crime? Worse. Try 5,500 per 100,000. That's catalytic converters, smash and grabs, entire trucks disappearing like Houdini. Police? They're bailing out faster than you can say APD understaffed. The department is short at least 200 officers, with recruitment so low they're offering $15,000 signing bonuses and still getting ghosted. Morale? Non-existent. Cops here are punching clocks, not fighting crime. It gets worse. Albuquerque leads the nation in auto theft per capita. Yep. Number 1. People literally chain their steering wheels. Neighborhood apps read like horror novels. Shootings at grocery stores. Knife fights outside schools. Drug dens next to daycares. And it's not just crime. Poverty hovers at 18.4%, and the job market's a desert. The largest employer? The University of New Mexico Hospital. After that, pickings get slim. Local businesses? Shutting down or barricading up. Even Walmart pulled 2 major stores citing unsustainable conditions. Schools? Ranked 47th in the country, per U.S. News and World Report. And the housing? You can buy a fixer-upper here for $170,000, assuming it hasn't been stripped for copper wiring. Albuquerque isn't just dangerous, it's a failed safety experiment. And if you think, but the scenery's nice, great. You'll enjoy the mountain views while waiting 45 minutes for 911 to pick up. This isn't a city on the brink, it's one that fell off the cliff and forgot to scream. Number 8. Jackson, Mississippi, the capital city. where even the police don't drink the tap water. Think America's capital cities are safe? Think again. Jackson, Mississippi is living proof that being the political center doesn't mean jack when your entire infrastructure's been hollowed out like a termite-infested shack. Let's get one thing straight. Jackson's water crisis isn't over. In 2022, the main water treatment plant literally collapsed. In 2024, residents still face boil water notices and brown sludge pouring out of faucets. And while state leaders throw Band-Aids, the Jackson Police Department is hemorrhaging officers, down over 100 positions, and the ones who remain are overworked, underpaid, and often living outside the city limits for their own safety. Crime is surging. Jackson had 138 homicides in 2023, giving it one of the highest murder rates per capita in the nation, topping places like Baltimore and Chicago. With a population of barely 150,000, that statistic hits hard. And the hits keep coming. 35% poverty rate, unemployment double the national average, and one of the worst school systems in the entire Southeast. Infrastructure? Think potholes the size of bathtubs, collapsing bridges, and power outages after a stiff breeze. Businesses? Fleeing. Even local gas stations now shut down at night to avoid being looted. Jackson used to be a cultural hub, birthplace of blues legends and civil rights milestones. Now, it's a cautionary tale. And yes, the city does have a plan. Unfortunately, that plan involves prayer, borrowed FEMA money, and pretending crime can be solved with a new mural. When even law enforcement won't stick around after clocking out, you know the city's not just dangerous, it's radioactive. Welcome to Jackson. Don't drink the water, don't leave your car unlocked, and definitely don't expect help when things go sideways. Number 6. Memphis, Tennessee, where grit turns to grief. There's Southern charm, and then there's Memphis, where charm got mugged behind a BBQ joint and left for dead. In 2024, Memphis took the title for highest violent crime rate of any major U.S. city, clocking in at 2,400 per 100,000 people. That's 7 times safer to walk the streets of New York. Homicides, carjackings, armed robberies, they're not random. They're routine. Local police are overwhelmed and underpaid. The Memphis Police Department is down nearly 500 officers compared to pre-2020 numbers, and resignations outpace new hires every quarter. Why? Because this isn't law enforcement. It's crisis management. Officers are often first on the scene of shootings that happen in the same block every other week. Memphis public schools? Nearly 70% of students are economically disadvantaged, and graduation rates hover just above 70%. And that's with social promotion inflating the numbers. The economy? Once driven by FedEx, shipping, and tourism, it's now buckling under poverty that grips 26% of the population. Downtown Memphis looks decent from a distance, but zoom in and you'll see the boarded-up buildings, open-air drug use, and security guards wearing bulletproof vests at Walgreens. Residents have started organizing private patrols in East Memphis just to keep their families safe. Add in rising rent, food deserts, and a 911 response time that's often over 45 minutes, and you've got a city teetering on anarchy. What's worse, Memphis keeps trying to sell grit and grind as its identity, like being dangerous is part of the charm. It's not. It's lethal. When the cops pack up and move to Arkansas, you know something's gone very, very wrong. Number 5. New Orleans, Louisiana, America's party city, just became a crime scene. You know New Orleans for beads, jazz, and Bourbon Street, but peel back the party mask and you'll find a city on life support with crime so rampant even the cops are begging for help. In 2024, New Orleans reported 280 homicides, giving it one of the highest murder rates in the Western Hemisphere, not the country, the hemisphere. And the NOPD? Down over 700 officers from their 2010 strength. That's right. Less than 1,000 active duty officers for a city of 370,000. That's about 1 cop per 370 residents. And even those cops aren't sticking around. Many now live in the surrounding parishes and only commute in to work. The French Quarter is crawling with private security hired by business owners because the city can't guarantee protection. Tourists get mugged just feet from their hotels. Residents install motion sensors, floodlights, and metal bars on windows like it's a third world conflict zone. Property crime has skyrocketed. Carjackings doubled. Police response time? Average wait is 2+ hours for non-lethal emergencies. And if you thought crime was the only disaster, think again. The city's infrastructure is literally sinking. Water pipes leak 60% of their volume, streets collapse without warning, and electricity fails if someone so much as sneezes near a transformer. Schools are rated D or F by the state, and housing, either unaffordable or unlivable. FEMA trailers from Katrina are still being used. You can't make this up. Even the DA admitted recently, we can't prosecute fast enough to keep up with the violence. When your criminal justice system waves the white flag, you're not living in a city anymore. You're trapped in an open-air collapse with jazz music in the background. Number 4. Birmingham, Alabama, the killing field nobody talks about. Forget everything you think you know about Southern hospitality, because Birmingham doesn't just break the stereotype, it shatters it. In 2024, Birmingham recorded 145 homicides in a city of barely 196,000 people. That's a per capita murder rate more than 5 times higher than Los Angeles. And here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. The police are leaving fast. The Birmingham Police Department is operating at 60% strength, and even that's generous. Officers are being poached by suburban forces offering better pay, safer conditions, and, most importantly, support. In Birmingham, cops aren't just fighting criminals, they're fighting City Hall, broken policies, and burnout. The average 911 response time is over 35 minutes, and that's if someone even answers. Carjackings, home invasions, daylight shootings, they're part of the city's daily rhythm now. But the horror doesn't end with crime. Birmingham's poverty rate sits at 27%, and child poverty is over 40%. Schools are chronically underfunded. Entire districts lack certified teachers, and high school graduation rates have dipped below 70%. Downtown has become a mix of high-end condos built for investors and abandoned buildings full of mold and squatters. The city's economy? Mostly healthcare and desperation. And don't expect state help. Montgomery treats Birmingham like an unwanted stepchild. The worst part? No national headlines, no protests, no plans, just slow decay and growing danger. Birmingham doesn't make the news because nobody wants to admit a whole American city has become this lawless. But the officers who've moved to Hoover, Mountain Brook, or straight out of state, they're telling the story, one U-Haul at a time. Number 3. Chicago, Illinois, the city where hope wears a bulletproof vest. Chicago isn't just a city with crime, it's a city defined by it. In 2024, 708 homicides, over 2,600 non-fatal shootings, and a wave of carjacking so aggressive that even off-duty officers have been targets. You know things are bad when Chicago PD itself loses over 100 officers in 2 years, many citing trauma, exhaustion, and a city government that treats them like the enemy. The blue flu is real. Entire precincts are bleeding staff, and replacement efforts anemic. Less than half of 2023 Academy grads stayed through the first year. Downtown used to be safe. Now even the Magnificent Mile is boarded up. High-end retailers like Banana Republic, Disney, and Old Navy have closed flagship locations due to rising theft and zero enforcement. And let's talk leadership. While Mayor Brandon Johnson waxes poetic about community-based solutions, residents are arming themselves, hiring private security, and installing bulletproof glass, not out of paranoia, but necessity. In 2024, 911 dispatch received over 130,000 calls about gunshots alone. Schools are failing. Whole high schools graduate less than 50% of their students. Infrastructure's collapsing, taxes are rising, and middle-class families are fleeing to Indiana and Wisconsin in droves. Property taxes? Insane. Over 7% increases annually, and still the streets resemble war zones. Chicago has become a tale of two cities, one where politicians fund art festivals and pilot equity zones, and the other where children get gunned down walking home from school. Police aren't just leaving, they're escaping. Because in Chicago, even wearing the badge doesn't keep you safe. It paints a target on your back. Number 2. Portland, Oregon, the beautiful ruin of the Pacific Northwest. What do you get when a city fires half its cops, legalizes open-air drug use by default, and declares war on basic law enforcement? You get Portland, a progressive experiment that spiraled into chaos with a scenic backdrop. In 2024, Portland reported over 100 homicides, a staggering number for a city its size. But it's not just murder. It's public disorder on a level that would make Mad Max blush. Open drug markets in Old Town, encampments surrounding schools and playgrounds. Businesses, big ones like REI and Walmart, have pulled out of downtown entirely. And Portland Police Bureau, gutted. More than 300 officers have left since 2020, citing hostile working conditions, political backlash, and chronic underfunding. The city once had nearly 1,000 sworn officers. Now, barely 700, and many are planning exits. Property crime is so rampant that stores lock up deodorant. Assaults on transit workers, paramedics, and teachers are daily events. TriMet bus drivers wear Kevlar. And forget about 911. Response times average over 20 minutes, and non-emergency calls might as well write a diary entry instead. Oregon's Measure 110, decriminalizing drugs, turned Portland into a fentanyl theme park. Overdoses have tripled. The city tried to fix it by hiring more outreach workers and posting signs saying, "Please don't use drugs here." Schools are bleeding enrollment. Downtown office vacancies, over 25%. And the city still spends billions on harm reduction, while ignoring the harm residents live with every day. Portland used to be weird. Now it's broken. The police aren't abandoning the community. They're just done fighting an unwinnable war with no backup, no plan, and no end in sight. Number 1. Atlanta, Georgia. The city, too busy to stay safe. Welcome to Atlanta, the crown jewel of dysfunction in 2025. A city where police don't just leave, they warn you to leave too. Atlanta has become the perfect storm of violence, corruption, and unchecked decay, all wrapped in Southern gloss. In 2024, the city reported 236 homicides, more than double what it saw a decade ago. Carjacking surged 89%, and the once safe Buckhead neighborhood is actively trying to secede from the city. That's right. They're so tired of being robbed, shot at, and ignored, they want to start their own government. Atlanta PD lost over 800 officers since 2021. The APD is so understaffed that entire zones go hours without coverage. A 911 call can take 45 minutes, assuming it's answered at all. Many officers have taken jobs in suburbs like Sandy Springs or Alpharetta, where the pay is higher and the odds of getting ambushed are lower. But it's not just about crime. Atlanta's infrastructure is collapsing. Massive water main breaks shut down entire districts last winter. Potholes that could swallow a Prius are everywhere. Schools are overcrowded, underfunded, and plagued by violence. And the city government? Too busy fighting with itself to notice. A recent audit found $30 million in unaccounted federal COVID relief funds. And housing? Either luxury skyscrapers for California expats, or collapsing duplexes with black mold and squatters. Rent is skyrocketing. Public transit is a joke. And the city's solution? More PR campaigns. Atlanta isn't just in crisis, it's in denial. And when even your police won't live inside the city limits, you've got to ask, if they don't feel safe, what chance do the rest of us have? There you have it. 10 U.S. cities so dangerous, so broken, even the police have stopped pretending they can fix them. These aren't struggling cities. These are full-scale urban failures, where crime is routine, the government is useless, and public safety is just a memory. And the saddest part? Most of this didn't happen overnight. It happened over decades of bad leadership, blind policies, and performative politics while real people paid the price in blood and broken windows. If the cops are leaving, what hope does anyone else have? These are supposed to be the front lines of law and order, and even they've had enough. And no, it's not about funding or slogans, it's about reality. You can't fix a city with murals, hashtags, or empty promises. You fix it with accountability, real consequences, and the guts to say the truth out loud. So if you're offended, good. Because being offended is step 1. Step 2? Admit the house is on fire and stop arguing about the color of the curtains. Until then, these cities will keep bleeding. And the rest of the country? We're the ones paying for it.